So in our last episode, we talked about psilocybin, and it turns out one of the common experiences people have, and that is mentioned quite a bit, is something called ego death or ego dissolution.
Yeah, so I'm pretty excited
Yeah?
because this happened in one of my healing sessions.
Oh,
It was a profound experience, and
You
it
know-
completely changed my perception of self.
you don't say.
I don't say.
You
but
don't
I'm
say.
gonna say it now. So on today's episode, we're gonna break it down.
I dig it, bro. Let's do it. With that sweet new song.
Best intro ever made.
I'm Jonathan Noel.
And I'm Brian Noel,
This is the Focus Cast.
where we remove or reduce distractions
Increase focus.
so you can live a life with intention.
Tensions. Man. It only took, a year and a half to get to this intro and 35 other intros?
Yes.
Nice. All right, so let's hop straight in, bro. We're
Yeah.
talking about ego dissolution. What does that even mean? Let's start off with what is ego?
Yeah, we're going to break it down. What is ego? What is dissolution? What is ego dissolution? So, ego is a person's sense of self-esteem or self-importance. That's their quote, ego. Now, ego, we're familiar with the term, he has a big ego.
Right.
But in this construct,
Yeah,
more of a
that's true.
psychological construct, we're just looking at a person's sense of self-esteem
Okay,
or
got you.
self-importance.
Yeah, because I'm sure it's different for a lot of cultures, how
Yeah.
they view it.
Yes.
Or even like when you're looking at like ego and, your karma and trying to do this, whatever.
Yeah.
So we're talking about self-esteem and self-importance.
Yes.
Nice. What is dissolution?
Yeah.
So that is the ending or breaking up of an assembly or partnership or corporation.
Well, you see where we're going here.
Okay.
So we're breaking up what? The sense of self-esteem or self-importance. Now, ego dissolution is specific to the boundaries between self and the external world become blurred or disappear altogether.
So you get to just exist
Yes.
with nothing.
Notice ego was self-esteem, self-importance. Ego dissolution takes the esteem and the importance away, and you're left with
Just you.
self.
Ooh, just the self.
Yeah.
Let's put the self back in self-esteem. That's amazing.
So ego dissolution, we talked about this from the last episode. This is common in the context of a psilocybin or a healing type experience.
Right.
Ketamine is known for this.
Yeah,
Psilocybin, peyote.
LSD.
Yeah, so
Some of those I have not done.
Yes.
So I can't say from experience.
yeah. So we talked about at length in the last episode where these psychedelics give you the opportunity to rewire the brain, to
Yeah.
go to the subconscious, to identify with yourself outside of what trauma you may have experienced, what expectations are put on you from the world, and things like that.
It's like trying to clean your room in the dark
Yeah.
without psilocybin, and then psilocybin's like turning the light on. You're like, oh wow,
Yeah.
I can finally put this away because I can see where it goes.
Yes. Man, that's a good analogy. It's like, no wonder it stinks so bad in here.
Yeah.
Left some trash over there.
Yeah, I couldn't see it because it was dark.
Yeah.
So what exactly happens during an ego dissolution experience?
Yeah, we got 4 specific, unique experiences here.
Okay. Yeah, let's start it off with the first one, loss of self-identity. The individual may feel a detachment or disconnection from their usual sense of who they are, leading to a sense of selflessness or emerging with the broader environment.
Yeah, I love this duality
Yeah.
of when you lose a sense of self, you become more connected, right?
Yeah.
To the broader environment.
Because you realize how connected it all is.
Yes, and so an unhealthy ego becomes narcissistic. The world evolves around you.
Yeah.
But when the ego is checked and you have a healthy ego, a healthy sense of esteem, self-esteem,
Yeah.
then you understand that you are one of many beautiful human beings in this world.
Yeah. Exactly. And that,
So sometimes we have to detach from the negative self to understand the true self.
yeah, it's detaching and we'll get to this, but it's detaching from the constructs that we've been born in, have had hammered into our brain since a child.
Oh my gosh. So loss of self-identity is a good one. So this is dissolution of boundaries. The distinctions between the self and the external world may blur or disappear. This can include a diminished sense of physical boundaries, a loss of the usual distinct between self and other. So literally just removes those boundaries. If you were raised and you were told that you were fat and ugly, and so therefore you have grown over time as an adult to believe that you are ugly, that is self-esteem that was projected on you. You are not ugly. You're a human being.
Yeah.
So this dissolution of boundaries, this disconnects yourself from that projection that someone put on you that you are ugly.
Right. Your attachment.
Yes.
We become attached to everything.
Yeah.
It's just how it is.
Yeah,
So it helps you detach from, I was always told I'm bad at math because I failed one math quiz when I was 3. So now for the rest of my life, I'm going to say I'm bad at math.
Yes.
Some chick called me 4 eyes. I don't even wear glasses, but this is a random. Some chick called me 4 eyes in 3rd grade.
Yes.
So now I feel super self-conscious or whatever.
Yes.
So this just helps you take all the shit that you've held on to, that you've attached to your self-esteem and identity.
Yes.
And just kind of be like, I'm just a fucking person.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm not this or that. I'm just a person.
Yeah.
To start with.
What's so amazing, and this actually happened in a therapy session for me.
Yeah.
I got a sticky note from my therapist, and it said, I am. Here's the significance of that. I am broken. I am ugly.
Yeah.
I am successful. I am smart.
Yeah.
I am beautiful, right? Positive and negative. I am something. That something has been designed over time, whether it was projected on us, whatever. So the concept here is I am.
Yes, exactly. I've been really trying to embrace that this past probably month or whatever.
Yeah.
2 to 3 weeks, doesn't matter. The I am thing.
Yeah.
Because it's funny that you mentioned positive or negative. I was thinking about it. I'm like, even people who tell themselves like, man, I'm pretty funny.
Yeah.
Well, you're setting this expectation when you're in the room.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, I'm the funny guy. I have to be funny.
Yeah.
So it works both ways.
Yes.
It just puts pressure on you. It might be subtle.
Right.
It might be subtle.
Yeah.
But it's still a fucking thing that's on your consciousness.
Yeah. Well, it goes back to I'm an athlete. Well, what happens when
you break your leg? You have
break
no
your leg,
identity.
You have no identity.
Yeah.
But if you are,
I just am.
I am who happens to do athletic things. If that goes away for some reason, it goes back to things like I am married.
Yeah.
Well, what happens when your spouse for 30 years ups and just divorces you?
Yeah. Now you are nothing.
You're right.
Because your identity is attached to a marriage.
100%.
Yeah. That's why I bring up David Goggins once in a while. But I just love how much random shit he says.
Yeah.
But I remember him being like, if I can't run, I'll just find something else.
Yeah.
Motherfucker.
And he runs a lot.
But that's what it is.
Yeah, that's what
He's
it
like,
is.
I'm running because I can.
Yeah.
If for some reason I lose my legs, I'll do something else.
Yeah.
You'll see him up there. He'll be doing 400 pull-ups a day.
That fucker will be crawling across the mountains. Be damn spider crawling that shit.
But it's true. You can't get too attached to anything. I mean, everyone's been guilty of this.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. This is just.
This is a daily.
Yeah. This is every day you're thinking about it.
Yeah. This is something that if we want to reinforce this concept of I'm a human being. That's something that we have to do every day.
Yeah, and it's subtle things too. For me, like, oh, I'm a bass player. Well, I can do a lot of things.
Yeah.
Why am I putting that there? It becomes, even though it's true,
Yeah.
it becomes a limitation.
Right.
Because now I'm telling myself, oh, I'm great at playing bass, but I'm not as good at everything else.
Right.
Fuck that.
Yeah.
Now I'm a musician,
Yeah.
but I'm still saying I am. I have the ability to play music.
Yes.
It's tough. You gotta work. You gotta work on it every day.
I am a human being who
I'm a human being
who happens to play music.
who happens to play music.
But we reinforce it in our culture and society. What do you do?
What do you
The first thing we do when we walk up
What do
to
you do
someone,
for work?
and I hate that fucking question, to
Oh,
the point to
gosh.
where I don't ask that anymore. I ask the question, what do you do for fun? And it always takes people off Like it just kind of takes them off a little bit. They're like, well, I'm not used to that question. What do you do for fun? Everyone asks you what you do. I don't care what you do. What do you do for fun? What do you do that makes you happy?
Yeah, I don't care if you look through spreadsheets and organize numbers.
Yeah.
Sorry, but it doesn't matter. I don't give a shit.
Yeah. What makes you happy?
Yeah.
What do you do for fun? Yeah. It's such a different question. And also, I've also learned when you walk up in someone and instead of like starting with, what do you do? Blah, 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 you just look at them and you go, man, you have really beautiful eyes.
Yeah. Boom. It's a completely different conversation.
Completely changes.
Yeah. So now you can get through all that dumb, well, weather's nice. You can get through all that and you can cut straight to, man, appreciate that. Yeah. And all of a sudden you start talking about deep stuff, real stuff.
Real stuff.
Man, I'm going through a hard time. One of my buddies, whatever, died. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's kind of dramatic, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if people can start opening up because they realize you're a real human and you're not just a robot who wants to talk about dumb, pointless nonsense.
You're not sitting there wanting up their career and the stupid... So I was at an event last night, and Max, the CEO of Racetrack, was talking.
No shit.
Yeah. It seemed like a cool guy.
Yeah.
And, and he opened it up for questions, and they were asking really good business questions. So no slam on the questions, but they were just asking business questions.
Yeah. It's a business event. I mean,
what are you doing about Quick Trip? For those of you in the South, you know that every racetrack has a Quick Trip across the street. What are you doing with technology? What are you doing with EVs? Right. All these very business minded questions. And I said, what are you reading? And it was funny because he kind of opened up a little bit, and he's like, he just kind of thought about it and he laughed, and he said, Islands of the Stream, Ernest Hemingway. He's like, I read at home and I mostly read fiction, and I like to read classics.
You learn so much about him from a simple, real question.
Just a simple question that wasn't business and success minded.
Yeah.
It was, who are you as a human being? And you could tell we all learned a little bit about his personality just by asking a different type of question.
So what's more interesting, bro, that they're going to put 3 EV charging stations at every major location in the Southeast? Or that he's reading Ernest Hemingway?
Yeah.
And that's
pretty cool.
It's fucking great.
Yeah.
That's great. I mean, we should kill that. We should go ahead and kill that small talk, what do you do thing, and just stop it right now.
Stop it right now.
Just stop it.
One of my favorite questions is, when is the last time you cried?
Yeah.
That's usually like, whoa. I've gotten a lot of great answers too.
Yeah.
So anyway, wow, all that from Dissolution to Boundaries.
We're killing some boundaries right now.
All right, what else, bro? What else happens during
Are we in a podcast episode? Because
I know.
I just got distracted.
What ego dissolution experience, what happens? Now we're on point number 3.
So, altered perception of time and space. The usual linear experience of time may be disrupted, and the individual may feel a sense of timelessness or a collapse of temporal boundaries. Okay.
This is a good one.
So, I've never done like the heroic dose.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna lay it out there. I've never taken like 3 to 7 grams of mushrooms. But what I have taken was very beautiful. I'd never reached a state of timelessness, but I've caught glimpses of it in meditation. I'm not some guru.
Yeah.
I'm still very new to this whole thing, but I've caught glimpses of this timelessness in meditation. It's pretty wild.
Who's the mushroom guy?
Paul Stamets.
Paul Stamets. If you haven't heard this story, go look this up because I love this story. He said he took like 20 grams, which is a fucking lot. And he said he stuttered really bad.
Yeah.
And he was in a field, and he walked to this tree that he used to climb when he was a kid. And he climbed to the top of the tree. 20 grams.
I don't know how.
I don't either.
I could barely play guitar on when I just took anyway.
And he said he climbed to the top of the tree, and a big storm came, and he said he could see like the lightning, but the energy around the lightning. You see all this stuff, but he said, I repeated to myself, I don't stutter. He said, like, more times than I can count, millions of times. I just, for hours, was just up there screaming. I don't stutter, I don't stutter, I don't stutter. He said he went home, went to bed. Next day, there was this attractive woman walking down the street, and he said usually he would look down, he would look away, he would stutter, trying to engage with another human being. And he looked her dead in the eyes, and he said, how are you doing today? He said he never stuttered after that.
It's fucking incredible, right?
Yeah. But he talked about this concept of just like time was gone. Completely unaware of this construct of linear.
After taking that many mushrooms, I'm imagining he probably said, I don't stutter anymore for what felt like 3 lifetimes. He probably felt like he was gone for 1,000 years.
Yeah.
And that's why he doesn't stutter anymore, because he went somewhere and he wasn't stuttering for for 400 years.
Yeah, I know.
But that's pretty amazing. But I mean, the opposite of that is all the shit we tell ourselves. Obviously, I'm not good at this.
Yeah,
I can't do that.
yeah,
After 30 years, you made it a reality.
yeah. Well, and this being altered and stepping away from time for a moment is really beautiful, because time is a point of anxiety for us. We must do this before we die. We must leave a legacy. We must save up enough for retirement. We must accomplish this goal. And we attach a time to that. And then we
Right.
put so much pressure on ourselves and the people around us and our loved ones and our friends, because we're trying to accomplish something by a certain amount of time.
Right.
Why are we trying to accomplish that? And why are we trying to accomplish that in that time period?
Exactly. Yeah, I was listening to an amazing episode of this guy. His name is Peter Crone.
Yeah.
He said the exact same thing. Makes perfect sense when you finally hear it out loud.
Yeah.
When you attach all these things to a time frame,
Yeah.
you're basically telling yourself, I'm not complete
Yes.
as a person until I've accomplished this in this time.
Phew.
Isn't that fucked up that we're all doing that to ourselves?
Yeah.
Like,
Why?
I have to do this by next week.
Yeah.
You're basically saying, I'm not complete.
Yeah.
And then you just move on to the next one. I'm not complete till I have this, yada, yada. It just never ends.
Never ends.
So that's why I try to. Like I said, this is a daily practice.
Yes.
Think about how I don't need anything.
Yep.
We ate lunch. I have water next to me.
Yeah.
And I've got a place to sleep tonight.
Yes.
Do I need anything today? No, I don't need shit.
Yeah.
I have everything I need.
Yeah.
There's no time
Yeah.
that I have to get anything done.
It's pretty wild, that dichotomy of spending a day thinking about all the things you have to do to prepare for some future thing versus literally just sitting going, I have everything I need today.
Yeah,
It's wild.
it's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like, time has been changing for me a little bit, especially this past like couple months.
Yeah.
Like, it's really just been, I mean, you start to realize it's just a fucking thing for people to clock in and work.
Yeah.
Time is supposed to be not something you look at, but something you feel.
Yeah.
Like, oh, the days are getting shorter. Oh, the days are getting longer. I should plant food at this time.
Yeah.
Like
Absolutely.
things like that.
Yeah. It's wild.
Anyway, whatever. All right.
Yeah, so last but not least here, transcendence and interconnectedness. So ego dissolution experience often involve a profound sense of interconnectedness with other people, nature, or even the entire universe. This can include feelings of unity, oneness, or a shared consciousness with all things.
Yeah. Remember Michael Plasha talked about
Yeah,
that.
he did.
So,
Yeah, I mean, I think, again, it's like when the world evolves around me,
yeah.
all I'm doing is distancing myself from the world itself, right? The world becomes very small
Yeah.
when the world is only my world, right?
Yeah.
But how many people are in this world? 8 billion?
It's almost a relief, right?
Yeah, it really
When you're
is.
finally like, oh, there's 8 billion people. I actually don't really matter.
Yeah,
So like, I don't have to care that much.
yeah,
I mean, I just have to be a good person, not be an asshole, try and spread some positivity to humanity,
yeah,
and that's it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
All this other shit is just our own thing that our own hells we create every day.
I know.
I
Well-
have to do this. I have to make this.
Yeah,
I have to give it to my kids. Even that, when you die and your kids are fighting over your inheritance,
what'd you give them?
Are you sitting there thinking, man, I'm glad I made those millions. I'm glad I killed myself for that.
Yeah, and they're sitting there and they hate each other because they're
Yeah,
fighting.
they never
over-
talk anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're just like, I wish you just didn't work. I didn't need all this shit. I wanted you.
exactly.
And what's really interesting, before we get into this next bit, which this is a pretty juicy bit that we're about to get into.
Yeah, we've been tangenting, bro, on this
Yeah,
one.
we have big time. We're feeling more loose. But I'll say, so from a Christian perspective, and for the Christians out there, this is where this gets really interesting.
Okay.
Because there's verses where Jesus talks about, like, you have what you need for today. Like, he takes care of the birds, he's going to take care of humans. But yet, if you analyze and look at Christian culture, right, they still fall into the trap of
dude, yeah.
westernized, like, we got to grow our church. We
Oh,
have to have new members. We got to do this. We got to do this. We got to do this. We got to do this, and it's like, if some of these, and I've talked a lot about this in my therapy, personal therapy sessions, when Jesus said, my burden is light.
Yeah.
And interpreting some of that, it's like, wow, from reading about psilocybin
Yeah, it sounds like he
and
was tripping.
mushrooms and some of the things that happen that people experience when
Yeah.
they take mushrooms or a psychedelic experience, this concept called ego dissolution. For me, and I know this is a dicey statement. Some people are going to be like, bro, where are you going? But I'm saying, like, what's amazing is
The similarities.
these constructs of teachings that we read, we can quote,
Yeah.
but like my question for myself and anyone out there, do you believe it? This idea of there is no time, right? This concept of, or God is bigger than time, right?
Yeah.
And this concept of like, we have to accomplish this all before we die. Who said that?
This is the magical book I talk about. You know, remember?
Yeah.
I always talk about this
Yeah.
book that fell from the sky that tells you have to do all these things.
No,
It doesn't
it
exist.
doesn't exist. Gosh. Okay.
It's pretty wild. Yeah, and I mean, you know, you see the yogis,
Yeah.
and the gurus and shit,
Yeah.
and they're just sitting there, and they can sit there and stare at
At
a
a flower.
waterfall or a flower because they feel the connectedness, and they're like, for them, there's already so much energy and vibration and bliss in that
Yeah.
that there is no time. Like,
Yeah.
they don't need anything.
Yeah.
They have it all right there. If they died right there, it wouldn't matter.
Yeah.
You know,
Gosh.
because they already feel like whatever. I don't know.
All
Not
right,
there.
You ready to get a little dicey, bro?
Let's go, bro. Let's go.
All right. So moving from this concept of ego dissolution, how can ego dissolution experience change our focus, right? So that's where we're going to talk about for the next 5 minutes or so. So what our ego's here's the question. What are our egos currently focused on, and where does our self-esteem and self-importance come from? So when I was looking at this and I was looking at ego dissolution, and I was asking myself, why is disconnecting from the world so beneficial? Why is that beneficial? And so then I asked myself the question, well, if disconnecting from self-esteem and self-importance is important, what is our self-esteem and self-importance? Where does that come from?
Yeah.
So that's what leads us to this next conversation, which is our current construct, where it came from, and where human value comes from.
Right. At least, you know, for us growing up in the United States, it feels like, and it's pushed by all mainstream everything, that your labor contribution
Yes.
is your worth.
Yes.
You know, how much can you make for us?
Yeah.
How much can you make for yourself? How much can you contribute for labor?
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it.
No one. What was the last time someone asked you, "Hey, bro, how much art can you create?
Yeah. How much love can you give?
Hey, how much love can you give? How many people can you help?"
How much compassion can you distribute to the world?
And I know there's people who would ask you that, but have you ever heard it from like a mainstream source?
No.
Fuck no.
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 Fuck no.
So this is a point of view, right? So choose to agree, disagree, go do your own research, come up with your own point of view. But this is point of view. So I believe that under our current construct, just like you said, Jonathan, our human existence and our human value and our current construct is based on our labor contribution. And I think that goes all the way back to slavery. So from ancient Egypt to colonial America, societies have had slaves. And obviously, as societies have evolved in different types of societies, you know, there was different classes, right?
Yeah.
All the way up from the elite class in Egypt, you know, the pharaohs were gods. You know, in Greeks, there was the elite class. They were special, all the way down to slaves.
Yeah, there's always been an elite class.
Always been an elite class. And as economies grew and cultures grew, they would have different tiers of classes. But most of history, there has been an elite class and a slave class.
Yeah, pretty much.
And the slave class were not seen as humans. They were seen as property.
Yeah.
So they weren't even valued as human beings, seen as
They
human
weren't
beings.
even humans yet.
Yeah, they were valued as property.
I own X number of people.
Yeah, the same as a cow.
Yeah.
I have a cow on my farm.
I
have slaves.
I have 6 goats, 20 chickens, and 8 slaves.
Exactly. And that was the slave class. And that's been in pretty much every evolved large-scale culture throughout all of history.
Pretty wild, right?
So let's fast forward to our current construct.
Right.
Because if you ask someone are they still slaves, people would say yes. There's child labor.
Yeah, totally.
There's
Sex trafficking.
Yeah. There's
mines where they make $1 a day in the
yeah.
Congo.
Yeah, there's
stuff like
arranged
that.
marriages where you're forced into marriages.
Yeah.
There's still types of slavery, but this concept of mass slavery is a little evolved. And in my opinion, I think it's just we've changed the narrative. It's went from slaves to labor.
Yeah.
Slaves, the intention of slaves was to provide labor. So look at our construct now.
Yeah. Now people get paid, but
Yeah, they have a choice of where they can live and what house they can buy and how much debt they want to consume. But they still have to work or they will starve to death.
yeah. And your only other options are like communes where everyone's going to look at you with judgment.
Yep.
Well, most people will look
Most
at you
people,
with judgment, like you're some kind of dirty hippie commune person.
Yeah. Or live on the street and be seen as a lazy
Street urchin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And where I get really passionate about this is in the Down syndrome community.
Sorry.
Where you at, bro?
Street urchin is from a It's Always Sunny episode. Oh. But no.
Okay, so yeah.
Sorry, it was just...
Yeah, that's good. So where I get super passionate about this is in the Down syndrome community.
Right.
So people with disabilities are told, and go ask anyone in this community. And I know this is some hot topics I'm about to hit.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going for it right now.
Yeah, the pan's hot.
The pan's hot.
The grease
So,
is...
and again, take what you will from what I'm saying, because I just, I think you can think whatever the fuck you want to.
Yeah,
right?
I want people to think whatever they want.
Just as much as I'm going to think what I want. And here's what I think.
Yeah.
So if you talk to people in the disability community, what you'll find is that in the medical space, if you're pre-diagnosed with a disability, you are strongly recommended to abort that child because the phrases that are said, this comes from me hearing this.
Yeah.
Right? Our kids were adopted, so it's different for us. But the phrases that are very common that you'll hear, and go ask people this. Go do your own research. Are things like, this person will be a burden on your life. This person will be a burden.
Yeah.
So it is better off if they are not born.
Yeah, so they're lowering their humanity before they're even born.
Because they can't contribute to labor.
And because they're going to potentially take your money.
And require additional
that
resources.
Because this person might be a financial...
Yes, because they will equal negative dollars in our construct and not positive dollars.
They're a burden.
They are not human.
Pretty much, yeah.
So take that what you will, but
yeah,
let's look at our current construct. How did we get here? Early 1900s. We are a nation of workers.
Yeah, who said that?
Yeah, so this quote... I did some research, and some people peg this quote to John D. Rockefeller. I don't want a nation of thinkers. I want a nation of workers. So in the Industrial Revolution, what they found is that they needed a labor force.
Yeah.
And so he donated $140 million, which is estimated to be around $6 billion today, to establish the school board.
Yeah, I mean, you talk to anyone who gets into conspiracy theories.
Yeah. I call them theories.
Yeah, you talk, even that term, wasn't it made up by the CIA to discredit people?
Yeah.
So anyway, but the point being is
conspiracy in action.
This is pretty much what is borderline common knowledge amongst people who dive into these types of things.
Yeah.
The Rockefeller Foundation donated to fucking basically creating the school system that we have. It's funny, of all the things that have evolved in life, how much have schools changed, really?
Well, and what's interesting is before this construct, schools were predominantly elite, had private schools, and everyone else homeschooled. Yeah. This idea of public education and this concept, just everyone has schools and schools are always around, that's actually relatively new for human beings.
Yeah.
It was more tribal. It was more family. It was more class-oriented.
Yeah.
If you were in a middle or lower class throughout most of all of history, you worked with your parents from a very early age. You learned the craft, whatever craft that was. A trade or bartering craft.
Yeah.
And if you were elite, you went to study. You traveled the world to study.
Yeah, a rich man goes to college and a poor man goes to work.
Yeah. So this concept of everyone has access to education. Well, what do we want everyone to have access to? We want to have them prepared to be workers.
Yeah, and what was the Einstein quote that we're talking about?
Oh,
Education
yeah.
is everything you remember after school,
After forgetting what you learned in school.
after forgetting what you learned in school.
Yeah, so it's pretty interesting. And back to what we said about the medical industry in our psilocybin episode, not everyone in the medical industry is bad, right?
Yeah.
There's some amazing people who desperately want to see people healed, and probably the majority.
Yeah, I think most people are good people.
Yeah, most people are good people. Likewise, in the education system, my wife was a teacher. Now she's an advocate on behalf of kids with special needs to fight the school system.
Yeah.
But man, our kids have had some amazing teachers who really genuinely care about them and their education. 100%.
Yeah, this is never a slight against anyone who's
Any
working.
individual. This is just looking at constructs and saying, why do we have the theories and the thoughts and all of these perceptions now, right?
Yeah.
And we're talking about ego dissolution.
Yeah, and why does it feel like it takes 10 years after school to finally figure out who the fuck you are
Yeah.
for a lot of people?
Yeah.
Some people longer, some
Yeah.
people sooner.
Yeah, some people never. So this is interesting. So on this concept of nation of workers, so we have the John D. Rockefeller quote. He started the school board. So on one of the original members of the school board, Frederick T. Gates, he said this. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
In our dream, we have limitless resources, and the people yield themselves with perfect docility to our molding hand.
Nice. That says it all.
How does that sound? That you're just a docile, lifeless piece of clay that's being molded intentionally.
Yeah. I mean, public school is not about promoting creativity and
Yeah, finding out who you are, understanding
Or-
wealth systems.
or even
and
learning
wealth
how to learn.
generation. Yeah, learning how to learn. Just teaching people what they need
I mean,
to
at
know.
least in college, there's different answers. And if you justify how you got there, a professor will be like, nice.
Yeah,
I
hopefully.
guess. I don't know. I haven't been to college in a long time.
Yeah.
But who knows what's going on now?
Yeah. Who knows?
But the point is I almost look back at school and I'm like, for me, it's good for social things.
Yeah.
I think you meet people. It makes you better at being around people.
Yeah.
But what did I get from it
Yeah.
besides that?
So what's the point of all this, right? So remember, we started with ego dissolution,
Yeah.
and ego dissolution is an experience that separates self from the world.
Yeah.
So how do we get here? So why do we need to separate ourselves from our ego, which is our self-esteem and self-value?
Because then we can finally get past the fact that we're more than just labor contribution.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
under this current construct, throughout time and history, you were your class. I am a slave.
At least-
I am elite.
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
So we talked about this concept of I am.
Yeah.
So throughout history, it was I am whatever class. Now, again, there were tribes that were more unilateral, and we're talking about mainstream culture, Greek culture, Rome cultures, right? We're talking about these types of very large civilizations. And likewise now. So right now, in the construct of we are identified as I am a labor contributor. So therefore, I'm a accountant. I'm a doctor. I'm a lawyer. I'm a entrepreneur, right? That's the current construct that we're in.
That's how people usually start with who they are.
Exactly.
Not, I am someone who creates music and I have to have a job to pay rent.
Yes. Yeah. What if you walked up to someone and said, man, tell me what you do? Man, I am satisfied.
Yeah.
What if someone responded with that? I'd be like,
They'd be like, fuck, what do you want?
Okay.
Or what do you want? Give me some.
yeah. So now that we understand this concept of where does our value come from, we can ask this question. So where does our value come from if it does not come from our labor contribution, right?
Comes from existing.
Yes. And this is my point of view, but I believe this wholeheartedly. I believe each human being is intrinsically valued from conception.
Yeah.
No matter what race, gender, class, ability, or disability, I believe each individual is intrinsically valuable.
Yeah.
Now, my point of view is that I believe that's God-given intrinsic value.
Right.
God made us. He sees us as valuable, and that's why he made us. All of us. Every single one of us. That's my point of view.
Yeah.
So,
And
But that's a crazy concept if you think about it. Now, we say that, but do we believe that?
People want to believe it.
Yeah, they
until,
want
the tough times happen.
Yeah.
Then you're faced with decisions.
So, gosh. So, okay, next question. You ready?
Yeah.
If we disconnect from the world's expectations of self, we can experience our true self, allowing us to better understand one true self in this world.
I am. Just I am.
Yeah.
Not I'm a fucking labor contributor. Not I am an accountant.
I am poor.
Not I am poor. Not even I am rich.
Yeah, I am.
Just I am. I'm not I am good or bad at anything. Just I am. I'm just, I get to exist.
Yeah. So the beautiful experience of ego dissolution is coming to a place where you can truly understand and experience I am.
Sounds nice.
It's very nice. And then after that experience, you're then able to go and say, I'm now disconnected from my sense of self being attached to my labor contribution. And I can reconnect with I am intrinsically valuable.
Yeah.
So now knowing that me, myself, and I am intrinsically valuable, what do I want to contribute to this world?
Plain and simple.
Plain and simple.
That's why my whole perception on art has been changing. Like, it's people who are really doing it, it's the fullest expression of themselves.
Yeah.
So that's great.
Isn't that amazing?
That's what I think everyone should be working towards.
Yeah. And we can work hard and go through different experiences, whether meditation, whether a healing experience, whether psilocybin, whether ketamine, whether intense therapy.
Yeah, for you it might be yoga, tai chi, qigong.
Yeah, might be. What's the thing where they go and do?
Fuck, it might be running.
Yeah, it might be running.
Maybe you run 20 miles and you see the light. I don't know.
Yeah.
Everyone's different, and you can get there way different ways.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be any one thing.
What does Will Smith talk about? What's the thing where you go and you take
ayahuasca?
Yeah, the ayahuasca journey. Whatever it is.
Yeah.
All the way to that. But getting to a place to where you can repeat and meditate on and reflect on.
Yeah.
I am.
Yeah. That's really the whole thing.
And just breathe out all of that other shit.
Yeah.
I am ugly. I am broken. I am whatever. You can just breathe that out.
Yeah.
And it takes time. Good grief, it takes time. But it's worthy work.
Oh, yeah. That's
worth it.
It feels like that's what we're here for anyway.
Yeah. So,
ego dissolution. We wouldn't want life to be too easy, right? What would be the point?
What would be the point? Well, I can say for me personally, and we talked a little bit about this on the My Brother's Going to Therapy series that we're releasing. But as a 41-year-old and me doing intense therapy and EMDR and some healing experiences and all that kind of stuff, I have a sense of gratitude. There is no spitefulness in the fact of, I lived in a disassociated state with low-level anxiety for 40 years. There's no thought in my brain at all that's angry because I feel like I lost time. Because again, there is no...
It doesn't matter now.
It doesn't matter. All I can really feel right now is just immense gratitude that I am able to within my life, with the resources I have, with the relationships I have, to be able to experience some of these things and work through some of these things and let go some of these things. I'm just super grateful. And I want everyone else to go through that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm sure there's people right now who work check to check, not because they're irresponsible spenders, but because it's just how it is right now. And they'd be like, that all sounds well and good, but I'm too fucking busy to to do all that. And I get it.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's freaking tough.
But even 5 minutes a day.
5 minutes.
Of just sitting and say, I'm full.
I have everything I need.
The breeze is nice.
Yeah.
Right now I'm safe. Some people, they're not in safe environments all the time. Yeah. But even for 5 minutes, I'm full. I'm safe. I belong.
Just I am.
I am.
Yeah. And it's a daily practice, that's for sure.
100%.
It's an hourly practice.
Yeah.
Because 1 hour I might be I am, and next hour I'll be like, I'm fucked.
I am fucked. I am. Man.
Man, I
10
feel
minutes later, I'm fucked.
That's so funny. Sweet.
Yeah,
We didn't even get to rewire the brain.
Yeah. Disconnect, reconnect. The brain is malleable as you go through these.
Predictive processing.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about all that. We're at 41 minutes.
Nah, let's just end it.
Yeah, it's a good place to end. Just breathe in. I am
Sam.
I am off this episode.
Sam, I am. I'm the fuck out of here.
Thank you for listening to the Focus Cast. Go to youtube.com/thefocuscast and slap that subscribe button.
How much of that?
Head to thefocuscast.com to share what you want to hear next. Go forth and be focused as boy.